Greetings, Mech Warriors, and welcome to this Season 7 Week 3 matchup, Division A matchup, between Imperial and Steel Jaguar. This is probably going to be one of the most exciting matches of the entire season. All eyes are on this one to see who is going to come out on top in Division A. There are a couple other matches that are going to be occurring as well, so this isn't technically the last match of the season. Right now, I believe Intari's Scorpions is playing 228, and then next week, Thursday, will be our... I said this last time, but I mean it this time. Next Thursday will be our final cast of the season, 228 versus Imperial, so make sure you guys tune in. I am Bandit B17, as usual, and with me today is not MD, as usual. It is actually Poopinshire, one of our other casters for MRBC. How you doing, Poop?
Hi everybody, how you doing?
Let me know whether or not the levels are fine. We're doing something a little bit different on our end this time, so just let us know. But yeah, this is gonna be a fantastic matchup. Last week we got to watch Imperial versus House of Lords, and that was very close. That was a very intense match, and I think everybody was pretty pleased with how that one came out. Like I always say, I really like 3-2 decisions. They're my favorite thing to watch, and we were not disappointed. So I'm hoping to have something similar tonight, and everybody's going to be watching to see, can SJR overcome the might that is EMP? These two teams haven't played each other in an official fashion since the end of the Mercstar Invitational, which is a 12v12, so slightly different. But they played, and it was close. That was, in fact, a 3-2 decision. So, yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see how this one's going to turn out. Do you have any predictions or anything, Poopinshire?
So I've been going back and looking at the drops, a little bit of history here, and looking at how the teams have approached this. The biggest thing I'm going to say here is I think EMP is not going to change their strategies from the last several matches you've seen. They know it works. They know it works really well. It plays to their strengths. In terms of SJR, SJR has actually changed their strats a little bit. They've gone back and forth a few times. They've changed a couple mechs. They've changed a couple players. I'm expecting SJR to try to mix it up in the hopes of confusing EMP. Not sure it's quite going to work because I've seen the guys practicing in pug drops. I've seen them piloting their mechs. They're confident in EMP. They know what they want to do, and they're not going to let SJR get to them mentally. It's not a mental game to them anymore. They're confident. They know what they're going to do, and I think that's going to be a benefit to them in this match. They're not going to let the game be dictated by another team.
Now, here's the question. You say EMP is not going to change up their strategy. However, there's a possibility that, SJR has been watching, obviously EMP playing on cast, of course, last week. I'm sure SJR was watching and taking notes. With that in mind, if you were EMP, yes, what's working is working, but it was still a very close match. If you were them, wouldn't you want to change something up to try and get the jump on SJR, or would you just go with what usually works?
At this instance, what's going on now is EMP is playing the mental game. We're not going to change. We're going to make you adjust to us. They're not going to go and play the chicken game. They're going to say, we're coming at you. We're coming at you hard. We're going to be aggressive. And we're going to make you play our game. To me, it's not so much is that they're trying to adjust or trying to confuse. They're trying to play their game their way, and you either play it their way or you get out of the way. It's one of those things, either lead, follow, or get out of the way. They're going to lead. They're not going to follow.
Absolutely. Now, on the couple of maps, I guess, where their strat didn't seem to work out for them, it seemed like they were a little bit experimental strategies. Now, we're not necessarily going to see those same maps today, but, if any of their previous matches where it didn't quite go according to plan, do you expect them to pull out something completely new, or are they going to refine what went wrong and just try and improve on that?
So the biggest here for that's going to be drop 4 Polar Highlands. We know it doesn't have the cover of Tourmaline. It's got the wide open spaces. If there's going to be a map for a change, that'll probably be the only one. Crimson Strait, beautiful cover. They can be aggressive. They can charge. Mining Collective, same thing. Forest Colony, we know that's lots of trees and cover. But for Polar Highlands, if you're going to see a change, that's the map to see the change. Remember, this is a good team with a lot of good assault pilots. You're talking that Polar Highlands drop is going to have a lot of assaults, 4 of them on it. So I expect to see Twinkie and a Twin Gauss Direwolf or even PPC Direwolf. I'm expecting some heavy fire coming from there, and I expect they're going to, granted, they'll be slower, but they'll still be very aggressive and put a lot of firepower down range on them.
Absolutely. Lobby invites are going out, so getting excited. The match is on its way. We're getting closer. First map of the day. Drop 1, Crimson Strait on Skirmish. 4 lights, 4 mediums, 0 heavies, 0 salts. No clan streaks on this one. No strikes. And max 1 of any chassis with only 1 duplicate allowed. We are on Crimson Strait. I haven't casted a match on Crimson Strait, and it feels like forever. What do you think we're going to be seeing on this one?
So let me get on the map here. Map's up.
Let me bring it up for you.
So I've had the privilege of just this past weekend getting 2 different drops on Crimson Strait. They had 2 different strategies. Now the first one, obviously everyone's favorite, the Peak Pass. That everyone loves. You know, on this first drop with the lights and mediums, it's a very, very popular one. It ends up being a melee or a brawl in either Delta 4 or Delta 5. But I think with these 2 teams, depending on what drop zones they're going to start in, I actually like these teams to move it over to the Bravo 2, Alpha 2 side. It's a bit more cover. Their lights can dodge in and out. I really like that in terms of these 2 teams because they do have a lot better light pilots than you're going to see in a lot of the teams that we've cast before.
Are you currently drawing on the map or no?
Nope, not drawing. I was waiting for you to go.
Oh, okay. I mean, you can go ahead as you're talking and feel free to draw.
No, definitely. I'm expecting Alpha 2, Bravo 2, then for the teams that are, at least for your amount of cover. There's a lot more cover, a lot more ways to approach this position in terms of coverage. While I do like the Delta 4, Delta 5, like I said, there's not much cover and the teams are going to be exposed to each other more often. Plus, it's not really these types of teams zones to fight in because the mountains are there, they restrict you, you've got limited firing lanes. These guys like to mix it up and mix it up really quickly.
Absolutely. Well, I am going to try and turn Poopenshire up here a little bit. Hopefully that helps you guys out. Definitely continue to give us feedback in chat if it sounds like he is quiet, and we will make sure to try and fix that as much as possible. Excellent. So, Team 2 is Steel Jaguar, and Team 1 is Imperial. So you're thinking that it could be either a pushed through pass or a fight around the Bravo 2, Bravo 3 region?
And even more than likely, I'm thinking Alpha 2, Bravo 2 is more than likely.
Okay.
One of the teams may start Delta 5, at least send 1 or 2 lights there just to scope it out. But you know, that's a really good way to access up to Charlie 4. You can get a good spot and see what's going on. Maybe they might do that, but what I'm really saying is out of the question. I'm saying there's less than a 1% chance of a tunnel push.
What about old style island holdout strat? I mean, and I don't think necessarily that ranged is dead. It is a very assaultable position, but do you think anybody's going to sit out in D2? I haven't seen it done in quite some time, but it might throw people for a loop, especially if they're not planning for it.
I've seen it done several times this season, but the thing is with this drop in the lights and the mediums, you don't have the quirks to support it. There's so very few mechs now that have the range quirks in this weight classes. I don't see that as much of a possibility. Conversely, same thing, you could probably sit back in Alpha 6 with some of the range quirk mechs that you used to see, but now I don't see that as a possibility either.
Yeah.
It's just the limit of the drop here in the weight classes they have.
I mean, I've seen some ranged used on this map in the light drops, actually, in European matches, I believe, but I just don't see it as necessarily being a viable tactic. Usually these turn out in a very quick brawl, and they are very hard to call, so I will do my best to keep up with the action, but the biggest thing is to try and get the best camera angle so you guys can watch along, and then we'll catch what we miss in the replay. But it should be, you know, a lot of these brawls are done in less than a minute. It's just so fast, especially when you're dealing with pilots of this caliber. They don't really miss that often, and time to kill is incredibly low, so you'll see people dropping back and forth on both sides. So definitely do your best to keep up, as I will. And we have one team in lobby. We're waiting on the second to come in, and then we'll be getting started. So let's bring up, let's talk about these two teams, shall we? Let's bring up Team 1, Imperial. Obviously, these guys have been favored to win it all. Coming into this, they've been favored, and based on their performance, they're still favored. So they really are the team to beat. And if any team's going to do it, it's House of Lords or SJR, because all the other matches have been played except for 228, and 228 may be able to surprise us with that match, and we're definitely going to take a look. But it's going to be an uphill fight no matter who plays them. And I know SJR and EmP have been putting all of their energy into practicing for this matchup, and yeah, I mean, who's going to be able to dethrone Imperial from their status as the #1 team essentially in North America and potentially even the game? And then Team 2, of course, SJR, Steel Jaguar. These guys have been a staple in the MechWarrior competitive community for quite some time, and they definitely aren't going away. They've been a name for quite some time, and they definitely run a really tight ship over there. Been really thrilling to watch what those guys are capable of doing. They had a little bit of an off season last season, but they came back strong. And both of these teams are gearing up for the big tournament, and we will see these teams in the big tournament. And in fact, I believe Steel Jaguar might be fielding a second team for the tournament as well. So we're going to see a lot of them around. But you know, MRBC is great, and it's been a fantastic season, and they want to win this, but you can tell that these guys are all getting ready for the $100,000 tournament, and they are excited to see if they can make it all the way to the finals and win it all. What have you been seeing out of Steel Jaguar lately? How are you feeling about that team?
So with that team, I'm seeing things a little bit differently. If you've noticed, they've taken things a lot more serious since the MSI tournament ended. In terms of what's going on here, I think what they've done is they've streamlined what they're doing in terms of mechs they're taking and in terms of strats. And actually, if you look at, they've had a couple roster changes too as well. You've seen some cross mixing with different teams, kind of like Seraphim Rising Storm, for example. And what I think you're going to see is you're going to see the team get whittled down to a little bit more of a core team that's trying to focus on those strats they've determined are actually more aggressive, more along the lines of what they think is going to be competitive with the types of teams they're going to play. We all know that the House of Lords joining Div A has changed the way certain teams have approached the game, and I think that's going to will its way down to other teams. They either have to adjust to teams that are more aggressive, more significant in terms of what they're used to playing, or they're going to get run over.
Absolutely. Both teams are getting in and readying up. They are both Bravo and Charlie Lance, so it sounds to me like we'll be seeing a fight in the Bravo 4-ish region or somewhere around the north side of the map. So we should be getting in shortly. I'm going to boost you up a little bit more here. You're still quiet, everybody, so I'm jacking up your volume. Say hello, Poop and Share.
Hello, everybody.
All right, if you guys can't hear that, you guys are deaf. Let's do this.
I just boosted up another 5 decibels myself.
Ah, so we're blowing their eardrums out. We are headed in to Crimson Strait. Drop 1, EmP versus SJR. Let's do it. And we're getting the pip brought to you by Mr. Poopenshire. Awesome. Looking good. Oops. Let's go take a look at the teams. We are on the Steel Jaguar side. I'm seeing Generoxide as their duplicate. Hunchback 4SP, very tanky. Nova, Arctic Cheetah, Griffin 3M, Jenner 2C, Shadowhawk 2D2, a very standard drop 1 deck. Legal Department heading over to Saddle to take a look to see if anybody's coming up and over. What do you see on the Team 1 side?
So from this side, I'm already seeing a Bravo push. Most of the mix are in Bravo 5, hitting Bravo 4. So, like I said before, I'm definitely not expecting that one of the teams was not going to go up towards the peaks. They're heading here to the Bravo side.
All right, Magician is up on top of a building, and he's actually getting a good look at the incoming group. He is getting hit by that Spider 5K a little bit with that large pulse laser, but really dealing scratch at that range. But he did get a pretty good look down the way and saw where the team is. They are calling legal department back, and we will be getting into an 8v8 brawl shortly. We are seeing 4SP and Jenner 2C, dual Jenner 2Cs on the Imperial side, but here we go, we're heading up the right side. They have the Trebuchet Seleth up on top of the Spire, as they did last time, so that's been a popular choice. Let's see if they can deal with him, because leaving him alive up there is very, very dangerous. He's down to 79%, but the brawl has started. They're trying to get their shots up as much as they can, but like I said before, it's very hard to reach up there, and it really takes a lot of effort. Fission in the 2d2, 4 EMP goes down, so SJR has scored the first kill. But the brawl down below, Magician's spending a lot of time just pounding Seleth. He's getting away with it. He is legged, but down to 59%. He's just doing everything he can to toss shots down there. Nova in the water. Jenner 2C goes down. SJR up 2. They have Heimdallite in the Nova up on this other building here, but they are not letting these guys get away with it up on the Spire. Slummy in the 4SP and Twinkie Overlord in the Spider 5K are chasing the Oxide. Ghost goes down. Slummy goes down shortly after. But SJR is actually starting to hemorrhage some mechs. They've started to lose some of these guys. Magician versus Twinkie Overlord, those machine guns. Crit Seekers, they take him out quickly. Only 2 left for SJR, and it looks like this one might have gotten away from him. It was looking really good, but the spread damage from EMP just caught up with them, and they just could not handle Seleth up top. They probably held him down to not being able to do quite as much damage with those large lasers up on top of the Spire because of the trade, but not having that Nova in the brawl definitely costs them. And good effort, but T-Fun is the last remaining mech. He is going to do anything he can to get as many kills as he can, because in MRBC, every C-bill counts. He is being tracked by Coburn in the Oxide, and he gets a good shot on him. Coburn goes down, and we've got a 1v1 then against Twinkie Overlord, but the Trebuchet is overwatching, and that is a lot of damage to allow yourself to take, and Twinkie gets the last machine gun with against T-Fun, and T-Fun goes flying across the map. Well played by EMP, 8-4 decision. Let's take a look at the scoreboard. What are you seeing on the scores? How's it looking?
Very interesting seeing Coburn leading EMP with 482 damage, 1 kill, 3 assists. Twinkie Overlord in the Overwatch, 248 damage, but 3 kills, 4 assists. That's what you call nailing those kills home.
Damage is pretty good on the SJR side.
Very good. Definitely, they definitely got a lot of damage, but they just didn't close those kills out. You see, only 4 kills. They were spread out amongst the different mechs. I would have expected a little bit more closing out of those kills.
They were definitely able to jump on that 2d2 relatively quickly, and they took him down very quick, but unfortunately it wasn't enough. I mean, it looked like SJR was doing pretty well, but EMP just kind of did a slow burn, just draining down all those SJR mechs, legging them and leaving them in some instances. That's why the Magician was able to sit there and tangle with the Trebuchet as long as he did, but unfortunately for SJR, that damage just stacked up, and it became unsavable.
And one of the things, I don't know if you noticed it, but you're catching on during the match, Heimdallite in that Nova jumped up on top of a building, was pretty much left alone. I mean, he got lagged, but they didn't take his arms. He was dealing out a good bit of damage. You saw Heimdallite third in the amount of damage for EMP there. He may not have gotten any kills, but 380 damage coming from a Nova, 12 ER smalls. He had some nice range. He kept dealing out constant damage. They should have done a little bit more to try to take him out, but they didn't. He had great, beautiful position, able to get shots on everybody.
Okay, I'm just working on your levels there, Poopinshire. I'll take care of that on my end. And we will be going to the replay shortly. There we go. Got you all cranked up. So hopefully in 5 minutes we'll hear some positive remarks from the peanut gallery. But let's go ahead and take a look. The replay is not up just yet. Okay, so just a real quick look at the map. As we can see, very general strat. Charlie, Bravo, they did send 1 mech to scout Saddle. We did have SJR jump Magician up there to take a good look. On the other side, Bravo Charlie just pretty much took it right down near waterline the whole way in. SJR made the first move, came in, curved around, and we had Trebuchet up on the spire, and that's where the fight went down. Let's go take a look at the replay. Oops. There we go. So as we saw here, Magician got a good look. They are moving down. They do see Selith up top with the large lasers. Can't trade against that, so it is time to move. T-Fun leading the charge down the right side with his Oxide. Gets a pot shot at the 5K, but they were getting a lot of really good shots in on Selith, just not too much substantial damage, but getting him down to about 79%. It was some good hits. I don't think he was critical in any way, shape, or form, however. They did swing around and jump on Fission in the 2D2. Majority of them are together.
A couple shots. I mean, he really took a couple. The lights focused him down fast. He was the first mech those lights honed in on, and they took him down several quick alphas.
Now, it's very interesting that they legged Magician and left him alone. He was able to continue doing small scratch into Selith from that steep angle, just doing anything he could. And then they had Heimdallite up on top of the other spire there. Just, it's interesting watching him dance from building to building and continue to put fire down. It's just really tough when you got those guys up top because you're almost forced to worry about the guys down below. But then this is where it starts flipping in the other direction. We lose the Oxide with Ghost, the Griffin 3M, another powerful SRM mech goes down. The Forest P is already down, and Twinkie Overlord with those machine guns. That Spider 5K. Never thought we'd say this, but we've been saying it the last couple matches. Those machine guns are definitely meta, and we've been seeing them in use pretty much with that mech because of the quirks, but those crit seekers, they can take people down very quickly once that armor goes down. And then last but not least, T-Fun, odds stacked against him. He is going to get whatever he can, just trying to draw out the fight, get people into 1v1s. Can't really do anything about Twinkie. Twinkie actually, I think, missed him there as he doubled back, but then here comes the other Oxide, Coburn. He's going to set him up for this one, and bam, right to the face. Well-placed shot into Coburn, but here come those machine guns again. He's still got plenty of ammunition, and he's able to work him down with that backcore, and whee! There goes T-Fun across the road. Oh, boy. Well played by, absolutely, but well played by Imperial, taking drop one, but I gotta say, I feel like that's pretty much expected. Has EMP even lost a single drop one at all this season? I have to say no. But drop two, we've been seeing people come back pretty frequently. Maybe it's all the mediums in play, a little bit heavier deck, not as fast moving. But I would not be surprised to see Steel Jaguar come back on this one. But how are they going to do it? That is the question of the day. Let's go take a look at the map. While I bring this up, I think we should do a giveaway. Let's set that up right now.
I think people are going to get excited about it.
Hype, hype, hype. Absolutely.
This is why it pays to watch.
It pays to watch, definitely. Let's do this. Great crowd out there for a drop one. Up over 95 viewers. We usually don't have that many in drop one, and it's only gonna get bigger. So thank you to everybody who came out. This is a fantastic crowd. Definitely like having you guys here watching. And Psychoholic is the winner. Here comes the rigged calls. Congratulations, Psychoholic. You will be getting those codes after the stream is completed. Let's go to the map for a Mining Collective Drop 2 Skirmish. 2 lights, 4 mediums, 2 heavies, 0 assaults. They can bring streaks this time.
Although with this map and the amount of height that's available and the way the teams play, streaks aren't that game-breaking on this map, to be honest.
I would say you're probably right. What do you think we're going to see out of these two teams for Drop 2?
I think, from historically watching SJR and playing against them, SJR will usually try to take a little bit of range here. You've got a bigger map. They'll bring range, they'll bring Gauss, large lasers, and some jump jets. Depending on, remind me here, SJR's Team 1, correct?
SJR is actually Team 2. They're the red
Team
team.
2, that changes a little bit here. I was going to originally say Charlie 2, Charlie 3, the fairy cakes, as we like to call it on some teams. But here, if they're coming in Team 2, let's reverse this a little bit.
Now, you think EMP would take cherry cakes? I know SJR has not shied away from playing a range deck in the past.
Definitely not, but I think EMP is going to be aggressive. Like I said before at the beginning, this is a cover map. You've got lots of cover, lots of opportunity to bring fast mediums and fast heavies. You can close distance and you can wreck people really quickly. Now here, I think, at least from an SJR standpoint, I would not put it against a Charlie 4, Charlie 5 setup. Jump jets, you get some height, you got some cover, you've got range, you've got lanes of fire throughout the entire map. Definitely one option. The other one, Delta 4, Delta 5 comes the opposite direction. You've got coverage on Theta, you've got coverage on the zones I just mentioned, Charlie 4, Charlie 5, and you can see down the Delta 3, Delta 2 line, as well as the Echo 2, Echo 3. That's kind of the beauty of setting up just to the side of center in those two positions coming from Team 2. You can see down those straight lines, so you can see teams coming. Now, you could always take the roundabout long ways and go all the way around. It's slower, it's more methodical. But from a Team 1 standpoint, you can close distances much better, and you can get in there and wreck face with close range.
Especially this light of a drop. Now, we saw these two teams have met on this map before, but it was a significantly heavier drop in Mercstar Invitational and had 12 mechs, which always changes things. But they actually opted, SJR actually opted for like a B4, C4 strategy, kind of holding down the corner. But it was close, but it didn't end up working for them. The aggression of EMP actually ended up winning out. I don't think they're going to head in there again, but there's only one way to find out. And here we go. Drop 2, Mining Collective, Skirmish, 2 lights, 4 mediums, 2 heavies, 0 assaults. Let's take a look. I think being able to pick up a win here would be a definite moral victory for SJR. They kind of need that momentum to carry into the heavier drops. Being down 0-2 is definitely going to make for a brutal comeback. But we are over on the SJR side. We have Magician in a Hunchback 2CA, Uncle Russ in an Arctic Cheetah, G-Man in a Hunchback 2CA, so he went for the dual Hunchbacks. T-Fun in the Jenner 2C.
Bandit, I'm seeing some interesting builds here. I'm seeing SRMs, I'm seeing a Street Crow for EMP. I think we're going to see a close brawl.
Both sides. That'll be interesting. Let's take a look. We have the pip up right now. We have a general movement up the left side for SJR, kind of meandering, getting some Overwatch over Theta. No real rush to get there. T-Fun is there, though, and it looks like EMP is actually setting up on cakes. They do have Griffin 2N. Grasshopper 5P is using, looks like, large lasers. Yep. ER large lasers, straight up. So they brought a mixed deck. They have their brawly guys, but they also have some ER larges to get some of that poke in on SJR. That's going to be tough to contend against. They can't just sit there and take that scratch.
Solitude's their Overwatch right now. I'm sitting in his mech watching. He's got 5 ER large lasers, and he seems to be trying to hold that Overwatch and keep SJR in some kind of check right now.
EMP has a really good spread of their lights, able to see all angles, so we have a little bit of a movement from Jaeger up here, but he might get discovered as he gets up to the high ground. They, what does SJR have for trade here? I'm assuming Gauss ERPPCs, yes, so Jaeger can put some of that damage downfield if needed. Their Grasshopper has large pulse, so they are a little bit shorter of a deck. I guess you could say in terms of maximum distance, EMP has the longer maximum with those ER larges, but SJR is a little bit more of a mid-rangey, large pulse deck.
And they did bring a Street Crow for light cover, so Ghost is driving the Street Crow for SJR, so they were expecting a push. You don't bring that unless you're expecting a light push.
Coburn in the Oxide, overwatching the ramp, not really peeking it too hard. But we have ourselves a little bit of a standoff here. They're waiting to see who blinks first. But shots from Overwatch are continuing to go out. They're seeing if they can soften some people up here. What does this Black Knight have? Probably large pulse. Yep, 3 large pulse, 5 medium lasers. So he's able to get in some damage over his optimal range, but every little bit counts in a standoff like this. G-Man down to 90%, Magician down to 88%, so the two Hunchbacks are actually the most hurt, but it looks like SJR is setting up for a maneuver here. They're gathering up on the ramp. EMP has pulled their Overwatch back, so they can't see this this gathering here. Seleth in the Nova coming up to Theta to take a look. Let's see if he gets the jump on G-Man and gets a good shot in there. Looks like everybody's playing very, very cagey.
A big shot to the back.
Fission, yes, 87%, and he's looking like he's getting cored out a little bit here.
His right torso is red from the rear. That whole torso could be out in one shot.
That's gonna hurt. Now he is in a Hunchback 2C, so he can survive the shot, but losing a lot of those weapons on the right side and the additional speed and cooling from the engine would certainly hurt. Heimdallite taking some shots from Jaeger in the PPC Gauss. He's down to 81. It looks to me like EMP is actually losing this trade. So I don't think SJR needs to push this. I really don't. They're winning these trades. They're a little bit hurt themselves, but if they can keep it up, things are looking pretty good here. Obviously, if Jaeger runs out of Gauss ammo, that'll kind of hurt, but he has those PPCs to back him up. Magician on the opposite side, able to get some of his pulse damage down as well. He's down to 73 now. He's taken a little bit more than he probably wishes he could have. But they have no idea, really, how much they've been able to deal out as a team yet. So they may be feeling the pressure. SJR could potentially push here. And if they do, I feel like that might be a mistake. It looks like, here we go, Aerosai in the Grasshopper and Ghost in the Stormcrow D are pushing up. Legal Department has entered the fight as well. They're jumping on Coburn in the Oxide. A little bit of a, like, 2v God knows how many over there, but these guys are kind of getting away with it. They're able to move up through the pods here and not take too much damage, but Heimdallite, 42% in the Black Knight. He is getting worked down. Uncle Russ doing whatever he can. The streaks nail him in the face. Coburn right there. Ghost needs to get these streaks on those lights as quickly as possible. Let's see if he gets a good shot on Aurora. That was weird. Those SRMs went all over the damn place. But Ghost is being focused down. The only mechs down is Solitude in the Grasshopper and Heimdallite Black Knight. But SJR is actually taking quite a bit of hits here. They could still pull this off if they land these shots. Jaeger shooting as fast as he can up on that perch, just trying to get that Overwatch down. Aerosai in the Grasshopper dangerously low. Coburn challenging him in the face. Only one more hit, and he gets taken down. On the other side, T-Fun is overheated, and he gets taken down as well. 3 left for SJR. Another fight on this side. Uncle Russ with, looks like probably 1 small pulse laser, just trying to do anything he can to Aurora. And Aurora smartly leaves him behind. So he's going to be low priority. But we do have G-Man in the Hunchback 2C at Theta. He is going to be challenged by Coburn. Coburn's going to get right in his face and drop some of these shots down. But he has the Overwatch of Jaeger there to help him out. But they weren't able to take him out in the first shots necessary. And it looks bad for G-Man getting swarmed by Aurora. And it's basically a semi-sticked Arctic Cheetah. And Jaeger, who lands another shot, he could potentially do some work up here still. If he plays this tight, Uncle Russ is going to go down relatively quick here, at the very least. I was hoping he... Oh, Coburn gets nailed from Jaeger. He is being surgical. If they keep facing him one-on-one like this, he can take them all down with one well-placed shot. Aurora is going to challenge him here. He does get a shot in. Looks like something was taken off of Jaeger. He does not have his Gauss, and he's down to 1 PPC remaining. Not looking good for Jaeger. How's Aurora doing on ammunition? He's trying to do death from above. Is he out of ammo?
I think he's out of ammo.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Out of ammo, confirmed.
That's good for Jaeger, and I think Jaeger knows it by now. That Hunchback 2C, I don't think is going to be able to make it up here.
Now,
Twinkie Overlord.
Ammo, but he's hurt. His center torso is orange, no armor. Left torso is orange, no armor, and his right torso is gone. 1
PPC could still do the job here. It is a clan PPC, so some of that damage will transfer to other parts. So even if he doesn't land it perfectly, he can still wear these guys down. Let's see if he can get a shot here on the Hunchback. Oh, just under the radar. Did not get the cross, but hopefully Jaeger sees him coming. If he doesn't pay attention, right there, he's going to get shot in the chest. He survives it. Down to 47%, trying to spread it off. Needs to get one more good shot off, but Fission is still surviving this. That is, I can't believe Jaeger's alive. And he shuts down. Fission shuts down. But Jaeger cannot steal the deal with his one PPC. Another shutdown.
No weapons left. That took out his PPC.
Oh! Look at the percentages. These guys are so hurt all across the board. But Fission taking shot after shot to the chest and is able to pull it off for his team. 8-5 decision in favor of EmP. That was a close one. If somebody would have sneezed, it could have gone the other way.
So while you're looking at it already now, 771 damage, 3 kills, 2 assists for Jaeger in that Timberwolf. Major damage and kills coming from that mech in an Overwatch position.
Honestly, like I said before, I felt like the push was a bad idea. SJR must have been feeling the heat, thinking they were losing on the trades. But what we were seeing on the percentages, it wasn't the case. They could have held out a little bit longer, allowed Jaeger to continue doing his work. But someone made the call and they decided to make the push, and I think it cost them the match. Oh, boy. Good effort by Jaeger to try and pull it off all the way to the end. And he almost got it, but that Hunchback 2C was resilient and would not go down to one
and it
PPC.
Was a crit. It was just a single crit that took out that last PPC. Otherwise, he had him. He had him to rights.
Oh, man. So, 8-5 in favor of Imperial. There we go.
So how are we looking on the C-Bill totals? What are you thinking? What are you seeing? How close are we?
Imperial obviously winning both of those matches at an even 600,000 C-Bills. Steel Jaguar has been getting kills. These have been relatively close matches, so they aren't that far behind. Sitting at, with 0 wins, still pulling 225,000 C-Bills. If they can start getting some of these wins, they can start pulling it back in the other direction. And, God forbid, they manage to pull off a victory and taking very little deaths themselves. That would be huge, and that could easily swing it the other way, even with a single win.
So to give you an idea of the current standings in the league right now, we have SJR leading Div A with 7.1 million C-Bills. EmP is currently in third with 5.92. Now, SJR, this is their last match. EmP has another one to go here. Mm-hmm. But each win, each victory here brings EmP closer to that Steel Jaguar, 7.1 million C-Bills.
Absolutely. And, you know, with this being the last Steel Jaguar match, if EmP then fares really well against 228, they got this one in the bag. So Steel Jaguar needs to do everything in their power to win out here to just slow Imperial down. And if they can do that, they could potentially clinch the division themselves. But then all eyes will be on that Imperial 228 match to see how much damage can they inflict. If they come away with a 5-0, most likely will go Imperial's way then. Let's take a look at the replay. So this is a little bit late. Let's back it up a bit here. So, like I said, at this moment, it was looking pretty good for SJR. They must not have felt like they were getting their trades in. You know, they're up against ER larges, and they're using large pulses themselves. The Magician, who I believe is their primary shot caller, he is down to 73%, and he's smoking. So he had to have been feeling the heat a little bit. But they were actually doing really well. I mean, Fission down to 77, Solitude down to 79, Heimdallite down to 77. I don't think this push needed to happen, but here we go. And then they push in, looks like 3 on the left, 1 far left, 2 right down the left side center. Legal Department coming down with I think there was a Blackjack down the right side there, almost on his own. So they did a really split push. And then they start working it down. Heimdallite in the Black Knight is the first to fall, which is a good win. Taking a Black Knight down is always good. Magician, though, taking a lot of hits. Legal Department goes down really quick. He kind of came in on his own on that right side. And so it looked to me like he kind of lost the fight on that side. But this little bit of a scramble here, the Streak Crow doing everything in his power to get some shots in on those lights, but he just got swarmed. And some of those point-blank shots just looked like they did not connect the way he probably hoped they would. Jaeger firing as fast as his heat will allow, and he definitely did work. That Overwatch was plowing shots downfield. But if his team bought him a little bit more time, I think that would have made a huge difference.
I
Bad
think it was
overheat
just
by
impatience.
T-Fun. I don't know if it was impatience. They must not have felt like they were winning the trade, and you've got that heavy Overwatch picking you away. You can't necessarily stagnate if you're losing the trade, but there's no real way to see how well you're doing at those extreme ranges. You're not really getting targeting data on anything you're shooting. If you're getting components destroyed, that's great, but I don't think they were necessarily taking anything off of these mechs. They were just bleeding the armor down. So you're working on very scarce information and just a general feeling, and they must have felt like it wasn't going well. Obviously, the ER larges are able to do some really good long range work against them, and they did have some supportive pulses. So just on paper, you'd think the ERs would be doing good, but I don't think they were giving Jaeger enough credit. He was definitely landing his shots, definitely doing well. And if they bought him a little bit of extra time, he could have taken it all the way for a massive clutch. Aurora doing everything he can here, but running out of ammo. As soon as I saw him trying the DFA, it was like, well, I guess he's done right there. He's going to try and step on him as much as humanly possible. DFA with the jump jets, and the dice roll doesn't go in his favor. Jaeger popping it as well as he can, but Aurora smartly backs off to just save his team some of those C-bills if he loses it. So then it's all up against Jaeger and the Hunchback. Aurora was getting in there behind him, just trying to harass and kind of get in his way as much as possible. But the amount of PPCs that Jaeger is putting in on a shutdown mech, I was shocked he was not able to burn through that structure faster. Only 10 damage to the component you hit. With the PPCs for the clans, 2.5 spread out to either if there are components on both sides. But it just could not put him down, and he's landing them. He's landed them, but I mean, looking at the paper doll there, oh, bright red CT for Jaeger. And is that the crit right there? Oh, you can tell he's mashing his button for the kill on the shutdown Hunchback, and it never went off because of a crit to his left torso. It was a left torso or an arm mounted? It was probably left torso, right?
I think it was torso.
Yeah, that torso existed even after death. The torso's still there, but a lucky crit by the Hunchback peels that last PPC off.
And I gotta wonder, is this a crit due to a targeting computer? Is that what it was? Because remember, just a couple weeks ago, before this match was played, targeting computers were just revised that the crits weren't working. Now they're working again. Could that target computer have made a difference here?
Definitely interesting. I'd be interested to see what the build is for that Hunchback 2C. Fission, if he's watching, let us know. Definitely.
Yeah, did you put a targeting computer on? Is it a TC1? Did you put none at all? It'd be really curious to see if that made a difference.
So we are going into Drop 3 Forest Colony. This is the first Conquest map. Commander Assassination. No lights on this one, but it is on Forest Colony, so that we'll see how that plays out. I don't see too many cap battles on Forest Colony Conquest. Usually ends up in some sort of brawl. What do you think we're going to be seeing on this one? 0 lights, 3 mediums, 4 heavies, 1 assault. The assault has to be a victor. Still no strikes.
So I'm looking at the total tonnage that these teams are bringing. This tells me the way they are, 8 mechs, about 525 tons. I'm thinking fast attack heavies. It just seems to me that's what's going to go on here. With this map and the fact that this is more often than not due to the particles, this is going to be a heat vision mode most likely. I'm expecting brawling. SRMs, small pulses, small lasers, maybe some large pulse.
They might have some Overwatch up on the hill. I know EMP has been relying on the Overwatch pretty well. SJR also brings some Overwatch of their own on that last one.
I think it's almost guaranteed. It's been working so far. I don't think they'll change it.
And the Overwatch has been putting up some pretty good numbers. They've been landing their shots, and that's key. But it really comes down to the guys on the ground. Can they focus their fire, and can they take some of these mechs off the field as quickly as possible? Because that is going to truly decide it. And no lights, yep. No oxides on this one, that's for sure.
So there's what they have to do then is if there is Overwatch, they're going to have to take him down with another Overwatch or range mech. There's no lights to get in behind them and try to take him out from behind. They just can't do it with the mediums.
Both teams are in lobby. We're just waiting for them both to ready up. But yeah, we're seeing equal tonnage on both sides, so be excited to see what mechs they choose for drop 3. Pretty good battle so far. Stick around. We will be doing another giveaway after this third drop is completed, as well as one after the match is over. Definitely a good crowd out there.
Reading the messages, everybody loved the last 2 drops. Everyone was shocked to see Jaeger with 771 damage. I mean, that's what happens. You get a good, nice mech with some good range in an Overwatch. They can dominate a battlefield. You've seen it time and time again. Don't leave those guys alone. Don't leave a mech unattended.
And here we go. We're heading in game right now. Getting the picture-in-picture up. And let's take a look. Ah, Forest Colony. Let's load forever. Both teams will be coming in on the drop ships, so they will be entering the screen shortly. What's up?
Let's see if we see some fast mediums. Like a lot of lower division teams, they'll bring an Ice Ferret, they'll bring a Cicada 2A. They'll go for the caps with that, but I'm just not sure if these guys are going to play the cap game like that. Now, you've seen SJR and other drops have played the cap game, but are they going to waste tonnage, so to speak, on something like an Ice Ferret?
All right, both teams are coming in on the dropships right now. We are looking at the EMP side: Black Knight, Shadowhawk 2D2, Victor Dragon Slayer, Timber S, Hunchback 2CA, Grasshopper 5P, Jaegermech DD, and Griffin 2N. If I'm reading this right, that means they have no duplicate mechs whatsoever, which is obviously fine, but they have spread it around. Yeah, Griffin 2N, Shadowhawk 2D2, so yep. So then on the SJR side, we have Black Knight, Shadowhawk 2D2, Ice Ferret, so they have brought a fast medium for the cap game. Griffin 3M, Dragon Slayer, Black Knight, Catapult 1A1, so it sounds like a Splat Cat and a Timberwolf. So once again, on the other side, no duplicate mechs. Nope, Black Knights, Black Knights, Black Knights. They have dual Black Knights, my bad.
Black Knight 6s.
Yep. Solitude and Twinkie Overlord moving into the water. They're taking a look here. Looks like they're getting some vision across the water. Not sure what information they're able to grab from that, but EMP doing a semi-push through water.
Magician is rocking a 7 medium pulse Black Knight 6, and Rauza is not. He's actually got 3 medium lasers, 5 medium pulse, so slightly different builds. One
Interesting.
being a wub machine, one being mixed.
Ooh, Twinkie Overlord taking a good Gauss shot, but only down to 98% with that. Let's see what he hit with that shot directly into the center torso. SJR spreading out. Looks like SJR is going to get Theta here, but EMP might come through and work towards Kappa. They need to send that Ice Ferret as quickly as possible. T-Fun in the Ice Ferret heading over Theta to get the 3 cap, but they could potentially give up Kappa with this and lose that 3 cap. We'll see whether EMP decides to continue on to the Kappa point. They could be setting themselves up for a little bit of an ambush if they head over there, but we'll see how SJR sets themselves up.
So I'm currently spectating Jaeger. He's setting up for Overwatch in Gulf 8 again, so let's see if they leave him alone or if he's able to get some free shots on these guys.
Jaeger is moving to try and get up to his Overwatch point so he can get some of these shots downfield with the help of G-Man in the Victor Dragon Slayer. Dragon Slayer, man, kind of reminds me of the old days.
2 PPCs on the Dragon Slayer.
Jaeger is just struggling to get up that wall right now. He has cost himself quite a bit of potential firing time, but SJR is actually on the move, heading over to Archway, taking some shots in from the PPCs, but for the most part getting away with it unscathed. While this is happening, go ahead.
Jaeger's up.
Jaeger's up. So now they are very split from each other here, and poor Jaeger is recalled after making it up top. They've called him down, and he is going to join the rest of his team under Archway. Kappa has been decapped. and they are going to be flipping it back, but Epsilon is going the other way, so SJR will be able to maintain their 3 cap with just a little bit of overlap. Yeah, a little bit of overlap.
And Jaeger was made out. There's a hunchback in Hotel 8 that just made out Jaeger.
So they are all gathering up underneath Archway here, but it looks to me like Selith is going to get really good view. They now know where a majority of SJR is hiding, and SJR is... They moved to the opposite side, but they know they're there. They definitely know they're there. G-Man trying to get some of those shots in on Selith, but I don't think he's doing a very good job trading here. He needs to land some of these PPCs on target. In terms of percentages, relatively low scratch. Both teams just playing out the cap game right now, seeing if they can get some points in their favor. SJR, once again, really has no reason to move as long as they're clocking up these caps. Kappa and Gamma are not going to be enough for EMP. It is on them to move into Sigma. And when they do that, they'll be moving across the firing lanes for SJR. Let's see if they can get some of the shots on target. But it is a long transition period for them to get there. So while they are marching in that direction, they're slowly bleeding out these tickets. But if they do get Sigma, and it looks like they will shortly with Fission in the 2D2 marching up there to get it, you know, that's good for EMP. However, Gamma now being back-capped by that Ice Ferret, SJR definitely playing this slow. They're playing it smart. They have the Ice Ferret doing his job. EMP's got to be getting a little bit nervous here, especially at this point, seeing Gamma start to flash. That's not good for EMP. They're going to have to make a move. They can't just continue this dance. It's not going in their favor. Selith now down to 87%. Let's see what kind of damage he has on his mech. Right torso is opened up. Not a single scratch anywhere else on his mech. But his right torso is wide open. So somebody was landing some pinpoint weaponry on target, and I have a feeling it was the Dragon Slayer.
Yeah, I was watching G-Man Dragon Slayer doing some classic pop-tarting there a little bit ago. Just classic up, shot, back down.
Definitely classic. EMP is actually starting to approach. They are marching up to Theta. Now, SJR has kind of backed themselves into a corner now. They're not going to be able to hold off Theta. I feel like this might be when they decide to make their move, because they can't stagnate at this point. They've not... Well, they've got the Ice Ferret moving up to Kappa. He's got a long truck, and he's going to be doing it completely open to the enemy. Like, they have perfect overwatch over Kappa. I don't know if that's going to work. I really feel SJR is kind of going to be forced to move, and here we go. They are coming around. Black Knight leading the charge. The shots are coming in. The Ice Ferret is recalling from water. They are tossing some of their shots right back at them. Selith down to 86%, but percentages kind of bleeding out for SJR. Not too good on the approach, but let's see if they can get that Splat Cat in there and get him working. Heim Delight in the Timber down to 73%. And here we go. The brawl has started. Haim has been able to slip around the corner. They have some mechs coming up around behind him to the right here. Jaeger's the only one standing in their way, and he is getting ambushed now by Haim Delight, Fission, and Bearclaw down to 42%. They need to clean up in front so they can turn around, but they have their backs exposed, and they are now in a pincer. They're going to have to pick a side. They have a big hill between them and the rest of the enemy. 3v2 fight on this side here. If they can get some lucky shots, they can seal the deal. Fission does go down, so they've evened it up on the right. Things now starting to tilt back in SJR's favor. Let's see if they can keep it going. They nailed Carnage in the Black Knight, and now they're working on the Twinkie Overlord in the Dragon Slayer. Very well-placed shots, and it looks like this is going to go in favor of SJR. Very good brawl. Was looking a little bit hairy there as EMP came around and started hitting him in the back, but they were able to seal the deal in very few shots, and that's exactly what they needed. 8-1 decision in favor of SJR. They just stole that many kills away from EMP. That's going to hurt the scoreboard big time.
You know how close it is? G-Man and his Dragon Slayer is bright orange center torso cord.
And on top of everything, he kept the Dragon Slayer alive. That's another 50,000 C-bills for his team. And that is going to take them a long way. That one win is going to mean quite a few C-bills back on that scoreboard. And we are right back in this, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you've been paying attention, because SJR is not going to take those 2 losses lightly. And here we go. We are right back into it. Fantastic work. Damage, I would say EMP could potentially even out-damaged SJR there. Actually, no, it was close. It looks like SJR was on top, but it was so close on the damage side.
It's so fairly well spread, too. Each player is doing very similar damage with a certain percentage of each other. But definitely, Griffin 3M, 2 kills, 2 assists, 439 damage.
Yeah, Griffin 3M, living that long and dealing that much damage, he did work. I got to go back to the replay as soon as it's up there, because that split of being pincered there really worried me, and they got into little micro battles. And SJR, in those micro battles, really came out ahead. Like, in a 2v3 fight, coming out on top as the team that is outnumbered, that's how you win matches, and they certainly did it right there.
So Jaeger's in chat now just cursing that cliff, and I gotta wonder, how much did that affect? Maybe that battle could have gone a lot swifter in SJR's favor if Jaeger had gotten up that cliff. He wasted, what, a good 2 minutes just trying to get up there to get Overwatch.
Definitely could have, but at the same token, it's hard to say, because maybe him getting up there could have changed SJR's plan. You know, that maybe him trading up there, they could have... obviously, the position they were in worked really well for them, even though it kind of made me nervous at the start there. That big mountain in between them separated the battles, so people weren't getting backcourt in those 2 little fights there. Really came down to individual pilot skill and just being able to seal the deal on some of those mechs. And that position really worked for them. Would they have been there if Jaeger was up top landing his shots the whole time? Would EMP have come at that particular angle, or would they would have cut in a little bit sooner? Maybe Jaeger could have gotten shot in the face and gotten taken down, and that could have made a huge difference. It is really hard to say, but whatever the hell SJR did, it worked really well. Let's go to the replay. Actually, yeah, let's take a look here. This is still a little bit earlier on here. EMP is marching towards Theta, and as I said before, you know, you've got Epsilon, you got Gamma, but you put up a wall between you and the enemy, and Theta, Sigma, Kappa is a very easy triangle to maintain. And they did send the Ice Ferret up to Kappa, but that entire trip to Kappa here... Oh, you can't see my mouse, bummer. The entire trip to Kappa from Gamma would be under the watchful eye of EMP, and I would be surprised if that Ice Ferret got to Kappa, and I would be very, very surprised if the Ice Ferret was able to cap it under that hail of fire. So they smartly decided to make the move. If they tried to send him into Kappa, it would have been a terrible trip. So SJR got the Ice Ferret close enough to bring him into the fight when it started, and here they go. They run up around the left side, and they're taking a hail of fire, but they're actually doing all right spreading it out. They didn't lose that first Black Knight. He filtered out to the right side, took a few hits, but all of this damage coming in is relatively spread. Now, Gut gets pounded down to 81%, but he actually was able to do some significant damage, so he made it to the wall and was able to survive it. So the main body gets in there for the brawl, and we see those 3 EMP mechs moving around the right side. And that's where I started getting nervous, because you've got Jaeger getting completely pounded in the rear from both sides, just completely wrecked. Makes it out with his life, it looks like. A lot of the mechs have their backs to that approaching enemy in the back, but then you've got Ghost and Quicksilver opt to double back. Looks like they might have had some Overwatch from Jaeger now, as soon as he gets around the corner, but for the most part, that was a little bit of a 2v3 fight there, because they're getting hit from Heimdallite as well, but they were able to swarm him, take him out, and start tilting it back in their favor. While that's going on, you got Carnage going down, and you got yourself into a 3v1 against the Dragon Slayer, and then that's all she wrote. You just have to clear out their Overwatch. So well played by SJR. They really landed their shots well in a pinch, and that definitely tossed it in their favor, even if the positioning wasn't necessarily favorable. But yet again, that rock being in the middle kind of gave them a little bit of obscurity. It split the battle in half, and they weren't able to help each other.
There was a very interesting... I was watching Carnage, and I don't know if you noticed it, but in the first-person view, EMP was actually getting each other's way during the initial push by SJR. I don't know if it was bad positioning or if it was just players trying to react. They were actually getting each other's way, and you could see it from the first-person view from Carnage's vantage point, there were 3 or 4 mechs there. They couldn't get firing lanes. They were constantly getting in front of each other. They were constantly having to avoid getting in front of each other. It was just not a very good response to a push.
Chat was thinking that Jaeger survived down to 11%. It was actually 17. Red text is impossible to see. PGI, take note, please. But, yeah, Jaeger pulling it down to 17% and staying alive. 7 assists, 233 damage, nothing substantial, but he soaked so much damage. That's why I really wish you were able to see damage taken as a stat. I mean, obviously you have the percentages, and so he definitely soaked a lot of that incoming damage from EMP, but was dancing his way around the rock and able to stay alive. That kind of filtering out and keeping yourself alive really costs EMP quite a bit of potential kills there, and it flipped back in SJR's favor. So we will do, let's do another giveaway here. Definitely a solid crowd. Up to 125 out there. Fantastic. Great to see you guys. We'll take some of these key players out of the list, like Moobot and Poopinshire. You're out of there.
But the bot's working so hard. Maybe the bot deserves a prize.
But the bot. But the bot. Let's do it. Round and around it goes. Who's our second winner for the night? If anybody's been wondering, I've been giving away 3 days instead of just 1. I'm a generous and benevolent god. 3 days per giveaway, and then the last one, of course, is the Mech Bay in 3 days, so definitely getting a little generous there. Congratulations, Snapped Style, you are the winner. We'll be sending you the code after the stream is done. Awesome. So we're going into, shortly, Drop 4, Polar Highlands, Conquest. 2 lights, 2 mediums, 2 heavies, 2 assaults. Very even spread across the board. We saw the cap game with SJR, which ended up turning into a brawl, but it forced EMP to curve around into potentially unsavory defensive positions. Definitely got them thinking about it, but ultimately SJR was forced to move. But then here we go.
They moved 1 mech down. Remember that Ice Spirit was still capping, so SJR did that 7 to 8.
They did a really good job recalling him. I watched his arrow. They waited for him to get about halfway to Kappa, and then I saw his arrow take a turn inward. So during the initial run-up where they're all taking shots from the brawlers, he actually was going full speed into their group, and I believe he made it in time to do some decent damage before the fight fully developed. So they had really good timing on that. He wasn't out of the fight too aggressively. He wasn't there to share armor on the approach, but he was able to come in at an angle that potentially allowed him to get some good work done. T-Fun, I believe, was the one in that Ice Ferret, and no doubt, from what we've seen in faster mechs with T-Fun in the past, he probably did a really good job. So, but Polar Highlands, strikes are now allowed. But this is a very big map, and it is a cap map. So
both teams are green, and they're at about 490 to 500 tons, so very close in tonnage once again.
Let's go take a look. Pip is on. Polar Highlands. So we've seen some cap strats here. In the past, cap strats on this map, we have seen like a sacrificial group to just waste as much time as humanly possible. Well, it can still end in a win. You really do hemorrhage quite a bit of deaths, and that tends to put the other team, like, it's almost like a half win, you know, because they catch up right behind you. When they pull 8 kills, they get 200,000 C-bills to your 300,000. It's a minor victory at best. But if they can pull a cap win and maintain their mechs, just like they did last, well, they didn't cap win last turn, but preserving your mechs, that's huge. Let's take a look. I am on the Steel Jaguar side. We are seeing Jenner 2C, Battlemaster 2C, Wolfhound, Banshee 3M, Shadowcat, so they do have the fast attack medium, dual Black Knights, and a Stormcrow D. What are you seeing on the EMP side?
EMP, I'm seeing an Arctic Cheetah Prime Battlemaster 2C, 2 Black Knight 7Ls, a Battlemaster 1G, a Stormcrow D, a Jenner 2C, and a Hunchback 2CA. And he is 4 ER large. That's Selling.
EMP trending mostly towards Gamma side. They're probably watching to see how fast some of these caps are going out. I've actually found that if you step on a cap with your main body, it actually gives away quite a bit of information right off the bat. They're watching how fast the caps are going up. Both of them are trickling in, although Gamma moving quite a bit quicker. That's going to give SJR some information here. Seeing 3 mechs sitting on Gamma, but they, you know, EMP might know that. They might be doing this on purpose because it looks like they're doing a wide spread right across mid.
So what's interesting is Uncle Russ is in a Wolfhound 1A.
Very interesting choice. Why do you think that would be? What quirks does the Wolfhound have?
Wolfhounds have actually some very interesting structure quirks. Now, the one I'm seeing with Uncle Russ here, he's running medium lasers, but you can actually run that with small lasers and run a standard engine light. Now, obviously with the mediums you can't do that. He's running XL, but it does have some very interesting structure quirks, and your weapons are mostly torso mounted.
EMP has taken a very big spread. Now, this isn't the first time I've seen them do this. EMP really likes to spread out and trade at extreme angles, and it takes away a lot of the angles from SJR. And I think we even saw this against SJR. Good smoke on Twinkie Overlord. Let's see if that hit can come in. It was an airstrike, and he smartly backs out of the way. Very good maneuver by Twinkie Overlord to dodge all of that damage, and he's starting to toss his damage downfield. Ghost down to 91%, so these guys are already doing work against SJR. This maneuver by EMP, they've done this before, and it is very, very hard to counter. So we're going to have to see what SJR can do. Okay, so SJR has the 3 cap, but if they hemorrhage the trades, that's going to be pretty rough. Now, the bad thing about EMP coming mostly in the center like this, they can't really break out. They did not bring any fast mediums, really. They do have the lights, but the lights are right up there trading. Now, they sent somebody to Kappa, and so he's going to flip that back, and they know it's happening. So SJR's got to get a little bit worried here. And now EMP is actually filtering back. Now that they've landed the 3 cap, they're starting to back off, and SJR is moving up. Selith putting down the fire as hard as he can, but now you're in a sticky situation because you brought a cap mech. The Shadowcat's actually right in the action here. So he must have been going, instead of working the caps, he's going for that long-range poke. SJR taking it straight to him now, coming right up the gut. G-Man, 85%. He's got nowhere to hide. Like, he's got this narrow area here, but right now he's going to just start taking some massive fire.
And SJR is focusing on Twinkie. Didn't take long.
They did take the Battlemaster down. Very good focus by SJR, so that puts them in a good advantage. G-Man down to 68%. Both Black Knights are taking quite a bit of fire here. Magician goes down. G-Man filtering to the back, sending his assaults to the front. Banshee and the Battlemaster are leading the way. Jaeger in the Stormcrow, is he bringing streaks on there, or is he party?
Yes, he streaks in large lasers.
He's chasing down the Arctic Cheetah, trying to get his shots on target, and he's actually landing them. 62% for the Arctic Cheetah. If he can keep that Arctic Cheetah at bay, that's going to be a huge win for them. G-Man does go down. Arara manages to get up behind him, and he's coming in for blood, but the Jaeger turns around in the streak mech and starts giving it to him to the front. If he can keep himself alive, Arara is going to have a hell of a fight. 3 dead now for both sides. Percentages in favor of EMP. They are fighting in the middle. Assault to assault. Solitude goes down. Ruza very hurt. At risk here. Nova getting pelted by the streaks now. They're swarming Nova, who looks like he's lagged. Ruza does go down. 3 left alive on both sides. This is going to come down to the wire. You've got a Shadowcat right in the middle of it. You've got Uncle Russ in the Wolfhound, and then a Streak Mech who's incredibly, incredibly damaged. That's not looking good for SJR. They need to see what they can do with that Shadowcat if they can get him out of there. Jaeger does go down, but the Shadowcat is still right in the middle of the mix here, and he is getting chased down now by Imminent, who's probably in a streak boat himself, or SRMs, and he is just getting wailed on, and that's it for SJR, and EMP takes it with 3 left alive. Very tough fight for SJR. It was looking a little bit better there in the middle, but I'd like to see the damage of that Shadowcat. I'm not sure if it was a good choice. Staying alive almost to the end, only pulling 270 damage.
270, yeah.
I
Magician,
think
only 84 in the Black Knight.
I don't know if this was
He was
a
the first
counter. Like, you've got the 2 lights, and then you've got a fast attack medium, opting not to go for hard cap game. That Shadowcat seemed like a bad choice.
And Imminent in the Stormcrow with the streak, 687 damage, 3 kills, 2 assists. Stealth in the Hunchback 2C, 509 damage, 1 kill, 6 assists.
Oh man,
So
that Street Crow.
definitely did some hard work.
Definitely. It was a bloody win, though. It was definitely a bloody win.
No, definitely, because Jaeger on the other side, Stormcrow D as well, Streak Boat, 437 damage, 1 kill, 4 assists. So streaks on both sides definitely had their way with those lights.
Now, Steel Jaguar did manage to get the bonus. They killed all the heavies and assaults for EMP, leaving up the Jenner 2C, Hunchback 2C, and the Stormcrow. So they do get the 50,000 bonus, but so does Imperial for getting the wins. So that just nullifies the bonus, essentially. And we're going into drop 5. C-bill count heavily in favor of Imperial. Almost 1,975,000. But Steel Jaguar with that massive drop 3 win. Right on their heels. 750,000. If they can pull another decisive win, they could, even technically losing the amount of drops, if they could pull another decisive win, they could even up these C-bills big time. They're within striking distance. So let's see if they can do it. Last map. I keep saying it, and I'm probably jinxing them, but Tourmaline has always been a little bit of a thorn in SJR's side. They haven't been faring too well on this map. I'd be interested to see, have they been practicing it? Have they found something new? We've seen some very good strats from EMP on this one that have worked really well for them. So how is SJR going to counter this?
Now, with SJR, we've actually seen them take different strats different times. Now, when it's a skirmish battle, I've seen them actually go with most of the ER large lasers, set up on the Tourmalines, and just do a ranged game. Now, we've also seen them attempt sort of a mixed drop when it comes to a conquest, but then other times we've seen them like, now this is going to be a lot of assaults.
Just saw it in chat, and in fact, it looks like that might be true. Imperial brought 2 duplicates. Dual Battlemaster, dual Black Knight. What a shame. That's going to hurt. Now, we're not going to put that into our totals right now, but that sucks for EMP, having that hanging over your head there.
But thankfully, in the rules for Season 8, it's just a penalty. It's not a drop loss.
Season 7, yep. So that'll cost him 100,000 C-bills in the final standings, which is a bummer. But still coming away with the win, and that's very good for them. But that puts them even closer to SJR. So if SJR can come up with a big win here, that's going to be big for them. So they need to put all of their energy, every bit of energy they've got left, they need to put into this last drop on arguably one of their worst maps. We'll have to see what they can come up with. I am rooting for them. Like, nothing against EMP, but when I see a team coming in on their worst map, I'm rooting for that team to figure it out. Come in strong. EMP has the same side of the map that they had last week with that D5, D6, C6, C5 kind of corner that's set up. This is what we saw during the Lord's match right here. EMP was trading in from Alpha, and then as they approached through Fox 5 Theta, and then ultimately charging here, these guys all backed up and set up a firing arc like this, and then they had some mediums here, or they brawlers right there. So then Lords came in and curved around. Some kind of went that way, and then ultimately got shredded down.
So the other question is, how many Muller MX-90s are we going to see? Knowing that this is a hot map, get some DACA mechs.
I wouldn't be surprised to see duel on both.
Now, do you supplement that with a Banshee? Do you supplement that with a DACA Wolf?
I would be surprised to see a Dire on Tourmaline, personally. It's just, especially with this expanse you have to traverse, it's such a slow mech. That's a long way to go. I haven't seen them too successful on Tourmaline with the current meta, but EMP has that same side, so they have no reason to take it fast. SJR, of course, watched that match against Lords. What do you think they're going to do to counter this? Are they going to play the cap game?
In this instance, I think they're definitely they've shown before the last 2 drops they're willing to play the cap game. Now here they're going to have some lights, so I'm expecting the lights, both of them, to start off playing the cap game. In fact, I'd expect the SJR lights to play the cap game even while the assaults start to do a little bit of a push. I'm expecting them to use the push to delay time so they can get more caps going quicker.
You know, EMP in this position has choices. They can set up stage to guard Theta if that's need be. They can get the initial alpha trades across. They have options here. You know, and this this travel to Theta is so in the open that if they do take stage, whoever's on Team 2 is going to get shredded on their way in. Now, you can take a little bit more time and come in from this angle and avoid a lot of that incoming fire, but then if you're just heading up to Theta, they might be able to just basically prevent you from getting the cap and just put stage shots down on you. It's hard to say. I honestly think if SJR is going to try for Theta, they're going to have to come in at that extreme angle or just brute force their way up, which can cost them quite a bit of armor. But
I definitely think it's no way to finesse it. Time is not on their side this map because of the distance they have to travel.
Absolutely. And, you know, EMP is going to be watching the caps. They're going to be watching whether they opted to send anybody to Kappa or not. Or especially Sigma. If you see Sigma start flashing at the beginning of the match, that's a huge alarm. If you see Gamma start flashing at the beginning of the match, that's a huge alarm. They're potentially playing a cap game or going for the long haul. Last time EMP Lords, you know, they didn't have Sigma flashing. I think EMP knew exactly what Lords was going to do, and Lords knew exactly what EMP was going to do, and then they clashed. And that's fine. That's a knockdown, drag out, skirmish gameplay, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're going to play the cap game, you got to find a way to slow the fight down, because if you're off capping and your team gets rolled up on, that's all she wrote.
And that's why I'm kind of hoping we see some mechs drop in Charlie lanes, is because if you see lights or even any mechs in Charlie lanes, chances are they're on the cap game and we're going to get a light battle in Kappa. Love to see that 2-on-2 around Kappa. We've seen that in other divisions. They think they're smarter than the other team. Oh, I'm going to drop Charlie Lance. We're going to rush Kappa. We're going to get it. Then we're going to go Gamma. I love to see these two teams because their lights on both sides are great light pilots. That's what I'm really hoping to see here is a nice Charlie Lance push to Kappa from both sides. And we just see a light brawl.
Just waiting on both teams to get into the lobby here. They're obviously taking it slow, talking about it.
I think both teams are making sure they don't have to get like the last one.
Fun argument in chat. Always.
Yeah, I'm noticing that. Interesting.
People just not understanding, I guess, the rule set. My understanding of it, anyways, is that assuming they still brought the 2222, which I'm pretty sure they did. I can go back and verify that on the replay right now. Probably easier when they're all dead. Let's take a look at that. So, dual Battle Masters, dual Black Knights, so that's the assaults and that's the heavies. They had the Jenner 2C and the Arctic Cheetah. That's fine. Stormcrow and the Hunchback. My personal thought, and I'm obviously not ruling on anything right now, my personal thought is that's 100,000 C-bills for the single duplicate infraction. Because obviously one Black Knight is fine, but then the second Black Knight is wrong. Now, they did not break the 2222 restrictions, so there's no additional bull crap going on there. It's just, in my opinion, a straight up 100,000 fine. I don't think there's anything huge here, and I don't think they probably didn't do it on purpose. Why would they do it on purpose? They wouldn't need to do stupid shit like that on purpose.
Doesn't make sense.
So it was clearly an accident in some spreadsheet somewhere, and that's why we kind of made it so these accidents aren't gigantic forfeits, which are nasty. We went for an oopsie penalty, and it's still brutal. That's what, 4 mechs? Is that 4 mechs worth of deaths? That hurts. But it doesn't hurt as bad as a forfeit. So people are sitting here trying to game the system like, well, what if they do this? What if they do this? Well, then they're going to get frickin' banned. Like, if they're doing shit on purpose, they're going to get banned. If it's obvious that they're breaking multiple rules to try and get an advantage, they don't deserve to be in this league. They're going to get banned. Now, people then say, well, what about the Lord's illegal roster thing? I don't know what they're going to rule on that. I honestly don't. But I was happy to see some good matches, and the mechs that were brought were to the rule set. They just brought in pilots from, off roster. Obviously, by doing that, they're going to get some pretty stiff penalties, and so they're completely throwing their season away. Whether anything more than that's going to happen, I don't know. Maybe those will be forfeited out.
They're honest about it too. They're not trying to hide it.
They're not trying to hide it, and it wasn't an accident either. It's not an accident, but they're being upfront, and so they're basically throwing their season away. Everybody understands that. And it's essentially an overglorified scrimmage at that point. But we still got to watch it because we like to gauge how teams are against each other. But in this case, obviously with EMP being ahead in the, or going to be ahead in the standings based on how many matches they have left to play, they don't need to pull fast ones to get ahead. So nobody should be lawyering up and saying, well, they brought an illegal duplicate, so that's a forfeit. I don't even think SJR is going to call for a forfeit on that one. They understand the rules. If they are, that's a surprise to me. But that's the way. That's why we did it that way. Accidents happen. I don't think a forfeit is warranted. Maybe they should redrop it. I don't know. But then we're sitting here trying to do stuff. We don't want to have to recall a drop if possible. That's just the way it is. Just I'm going to get off my soapbox a little bit there. Shit happens. EMP is going to get hit for it. I'm pretty sure they understand that they made a mistake. Oops. They're still going to play hard. SJR is still going to play hard. The only people butthurt about this are in the chat. And honestly, in the end, that doesn't even matter. So, there we go.
So this is getting interesting for the drops. You're looking at 585 tons versus 570 tons. So once again, the two teams are probably bringing very similar drop decks. They seem to be pretty close in weight, and none of them are dropping in Charlie Lance. Look at that.
Here we go. Let's take a look.
So my hope for a light battle in Kappa probably isn't happening at this point.
We are headed in. Let's turn the pip on. Drop 5. EMP up 3-1. SJR looking to come back and get some work done on arguably their weakest map. I'm over on the EMP side. We are seeing Imminent in a Timber, dual Battle Masters, and an Oxide. Looking for illegal decks on this one. I'm seeing the dual Battle Masters, Banshee, Mauler MX-90. Everything's looking pretty kosher. On the SJR side, dual Mauler MX-90s, Black Knight, Jenner 2C, Jenner Oxide, Banshee 3E, Direwolf. We are seeing a Direwolf. And heavy push from the Alpha Lance of SJR. Pounding Carnage down to 78%. Selith down to 90 and still taking hits from that Daka as Alpha approaches right up the left flank. They are not going to allow EMP to peek that. They dealt some pretty significant damage. Ruza down to 80% in the process. Let's see if anything critical got hit on him. No, that was really well spread.
6 Ultra AC5s.
6 Ultra AC5s? Nice.
6.
For the Direwolf, you said?
Yes, that is.
That's going to be brutal if he can get those shots on target. Now, EMP has fallen back, and they're getting a little bit of trade in on Magician. I'm not sure if he was able to land some shots back. Ruza down to 66 now. He is getting pummeled, and it looks like we're going to have a good airstrike here. If he can get out of the way, he needs to cut it to the side, but he doesn't, and he takes another additional hit from that. They have some shots out on Selith. Selith is actually kind of bleeding away here. We've got a very spread out maneuver here. It looks like the lights were getting some shots on Selith there.
Some fire going on in double 6 as well. We got a second push going.
Oh, is Selith over here on the left? Okay, so they were just straight up trading with him. The Oxides, though, putting pressure on that right side. Caps in favor of SJR slowly, but I don't think anybody really gives a crap at this point. Heimdallite has a good sight line down this main push.
And T-Fun is out of position. He is pushing Carnage. He is by himself.
Wow, what is that? What is he doing? He's getting on Carnage, on the Battlemaster, and he takes him down 1v3. T-Fun doing some work scattering those EMP mechs, but he does go down. While that was happening, I mean, can you consider that a good trade? A light for an assault? I guess so. But SJR was not really ready for that. They weren't there yet. That might have been a missed call. But here we go. Is Magician kind of moving up into the firing line all alone? He's committed now. He can't back up. His team's there. He's getting hit down to 47%, and he goes down quick. They are filtering out of this hole one at a time, and that is bad for SJR. But here we go. We finally got the beef in position. Let's see if they can get some of these shots on target. Twinkie Overlord getting pummeled by that Direwolf. 3 down now for EMP. This Direwolf is just laying it into him as hard as he can. That is a massive amount of damage. And now he's tossing some shots over at Selith. Well, this is happening. We have a Timber versus a Jägermech DD over here. Jägermech putting out as much as he can. Imminent getting pounded down to 39%. Not looking good for him, and he does go down. On the other side, SJR is down 1 light mech, so Uncle Russ on his own doing what he can against Aurora. Gets some good shots in on him, but here we go. The lights are in there. They've turned and are putting some shots down. Aurora looks like he just got legged. He took the Direwolf down in the process, but it looks like this is going to go in favor of SJR if they can finish off Selith. And he does go down. 5 left alive for SJR. That DACA was intense. Wow. Let's take a look at the scoreboard.
G-Man in the Jägermech Double D, 619 damage, 2 kills, 5 assists. I guess G-Man kind of went a little bit unscathed now. Now his one torso was open, but wow, I mean Quicksilver with the DACA Dire expected a little bit more damage out of that, but 1 kill, 453. In the meantime, Self, the Battlemaster 1G, 607 damage, 1 kill, 1 assist. Very nice firing from that Battlemaster. Of course, Carnage and the other Battlemaster 1G got taken out real fast by T-Fun as he charged in.
Selith pulling that 607. He had that Overwatch and was able to do work. But yeah, G-Man, I didn't even see him able to put that damage down because he was actually posted up alone on the left side while the assaults pushed out the right. He was staying off on the left and was in kind of a 1v1 against Imminent and actually came out ahead on that. While that was happening, it was hard to keep up with the lights, but SJR basically 1v2 on the lights, and it sounded to me like EMP made the call to recall their lights to get into the battle because they actually left the SJR light alive. Yeah, and they don't get the bonus. Okay. They left the SJR light alive. I don't know if they lagged them or what, but they recalled as fast as they could, but the fight was half over by the time they got there. And once those lights got in there, one of them got taken out by well-placed DACA very quickly. They did take the Direwolf down, but then the lagged light, I mean, they were able to focus on the lights. The rest of the work was done. They were able to turn and put their shots on the lights. Those lights not being in that fight from the very beginning, very costly for EMP. They got distracted by the little light fight out in the back there, and that cost them big time.
It was interesting that they ended up with 2 separate pushes going on at the same time. I don't think they expected it, and it kind of took... I don't know if they could react fast enough to deal with it.
I'm just going to step this replay back a little bit. This intense amount of damage coming in from the Alpha Lance on SJR. Right out the gate, you know, they're like, hey, let's take a peek over here. Oh, look, they're poking out. Oh, Jesus Christ! And then just DACA to the face. Carnage getting ripped to shreds. He did spread it off pretty well, but that's a lot of shredded armor there. And then Selith takes another peek and takes, looks like in that last peek there, probably about 15% of his health in that one volley, and didn't really get a trade back. I mean, he shot somebody once, probably Ruza. Ruza spread really well and let his teammates put that fire right back on target. So no core outs on SJR side, just some lower percentages, but Selith and Carnage, both in Battle Masters, taking a massive amount of damage. So we had those lights move off to the right side. They kind of threatened him a little bit. Selith backed all the way up to the upper left corner, and they actually continued to work against him, but he had a pretty good angle to slow this fight down. They actually forced SJR to move up the stage. Good strike there by Selith, getting a pop on Ruza too, just continuing to put that damage downfield. Very spread out positions by SJR. Their lights were over there just harassing, but I don't think they really got much done on that side. Heim Delight down to 87, Twinkie down to 91. That's work. They didn't lose anybody for it. Nobody giving a crap about tickets at this point. SJR moves up onto stage, gets a little bit of scratch in from Selith, but gave a little bit of it back. He's down to 63%, 61. Every time they pass him, they're just giving him something back. And then this maneuver was weird, but he came away with an assault for it.
I know.
I don't know if that... I mean, it wasn't a cap match. It was clearly nobody was caring about caps. So he threw the light away to get to an assault. And it was the Carnage, who was already pretty hurt. But I think the timing was off, because if that was happening while this push from SJR was happening here, it could have done so much more. This could have easily been like an 8-0 stomp, or maybe an 8-1 or something like that. But let's give SJR credit. They still pulled it out here. Now, they get Magician slaughtered down there, but here they all come, and they're bringing that DACA to the party. They've got Airsai with the lasers, but just this Quicksilver just unloading on people. Look at how fast Twinkie goes down underneath that onslaught, and we can't see it on camera, but the DD is off to the left doing work as well, and we can't really see that happening from this angle, but this is where I spotted him, and Imminent was trying to go shut him up. And the combined effort from all of them, it was just too much for that Timber to take. And there he goes. And then the light fight, they got away, or oh, he's not legged, so they recalled the lights saying, get the hell back here. Too little too late. That 1v2, Coburn and Aurora versus Uncle Russ in the Jenner 2C. Uncle Russ did some frickin' work there. The 1v2 pulling him down to that percent, that's impressive. Uncle Russ does not go down and does that much damage to the EMP lights, forces them to retreat. Not necessarily for retreat, but they came away empty-handed. All of that work, and they came away empty-handed. Joined the fight late, and then got shredded down under the DACA.
I'm just wondering if that initial push just put them off their game. That DACA push by SJR, I gotta think something happened.
It could have shook them up. If that didn't happen, the suicide run from T-Fun could never have happened.
Yeah, I think that suicide run would have been that. It would have been a suicide run. There'd have been no trade-off. There'd have been no Battle Master going down.
Absolutely. So well played by SJR, pulling it back. Final C-bill count. They actually, without the penalty, because they had two very solid wins, as opposed to their three very close losses, and getting the bonus in the last two drops. In all three other drops, they got the bonus, actually. They come away with 1.1 million C-bills versus 1.05 for Imperial. They actually won this match on the scoreboard. That is crazy. I would not have seen that coming. I said that it was a possibility, said that they would have to do some magic. That's exactly what they did, coming away with an 8-3 victory in drop 5 and a bonus, and preventing Imperial to get the bonus. Penalty or not, that one cost Imperial, and all eyes will be next Thursday to see what Imperial can do with 228. If they can come away with the win, and if they can make it a decisive win, it might be too little too late for SJR. Hard to say, though. All of these teams have been very close. It's going to come down to the final C-bill counts. Goodness gracious, I don't think anybody saw that coming from a mile away.
I think the only thing they expected was a fun match to watch, and that's definitely what they got for all 5 drops.
I am tickled pink. I say it every time. I love 3-2 decisions, and Division A has been fantastic. Fantastic to watch. Alright, let's do the giveaway. This is for Mech Bay and some premium time. Final giveaway of the night. Very good crowd out there. Looks like we might have broken 150 viewers. Fantastic to have you guys all here. Remember, we do have one more shoutcast on Thursday. That'll be the last one of the season. Make sure you guys stop by. It's going to be exciting. And the winner is Chaturanga! Congratulations. You'll be receiving that code after the stream is completed. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, a fantastic match. SJR losing 3, but coming away ultimately with the victory. You know, there's going to be controversy on this. Imperial won 3, so if we were going for just like a best out of 5, technically this would have been Imperial's match. But then you look at the rules for the league, in which they're basically, the league awards close matches and punishes one-sided matches. Not for the winner, but I mean one-sided matches are way more valuable than a close match. And based on the league rule set, SJR comes away with a win, but it's really going to come down to the final numbers.
And this is, I think, one of the criticisms of the PGI tournament is it doesn't care about C-bills, it doesn't care about the intangibles that MRBC has. All they care about is that final victory. And I think we're going to see more of this worry, more of this concern as we get closer to that PGI tournament starting up.
Now, if SJR can take some of these decisive victories and apply some of that to their close losses, they're going to be able to take EMP in the tournament. But it's going to be a lot of work, and EMP, I guarantee you, EMP is going to look at these losses, and they're going to figure out what the hell went wrong, and they're going to make a change, and SJR is going to have to be ready for that. And so is Lords, and so is the entire Scorpions, and so is 228, and so is everybody else. But, you know, this was close. EMP is at risk. But they are not going to take it lightly. They're going to get down to work, and so is SJR, and so is everybody else. They're going to get down to work, and we're going to see a whole new match when the tournament comes through. It's going to be completely different, and it still could be very close, and I'm hoping it is. But it's going to be big. But that is it for us tonight. Thank you all for coming by. Thank you, Poopenshire, for co-casting with me.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you, MD, for having a family and not showing up. Gosh, who does that?
I mean, I got rid of mine already. They're gone.
Ah, yeah, exactly. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. Definitely looking for any feedback. I actually go through it. I watch all of my matches with the chat afterwards to pick up anything anybody says that I might have missed during the cast. So definitely throw your feedback in there. Definitely looking forward to seeing it. And hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. So that's it for us. See you guys later.
Have a good night.
Pay attention to the paper doll. Make sure you guys are shooting the correct legs. Be careful of the collisions. I don't want to hear complaints about it. Work around it. Let's play this game.
I need another heavy. I've got TB and a quick draw.
I want to get fairly tight to it. Now, anybody who's going to be working range, I'm going to need you to fade right on this. And when anybody's running short, is going to stay towards the top of the caldera if we're going to come at them.
I have you in the Griffin.
Sounds good. Well, that's the thing. We got to get to brawling range, so I may be moving us, right up to the hoop if we have to.
Wolverine at Charlie 4.
It's fine, chill the out, man, it's fine, it's just a 5-starter.
Don't load it in miteinander.
15 seconds.
Yeah, exactly,
Don't die.
guys,
15 seconds, don't die.
guys. 3, 2, 1.
Charlie Dar, CT, yellow. Okay, go. Just really soon we can get it.
There, to your left is there. Excellent. So, jetzt gleich hinter die Indie-Pocken,
position in Bravo 6.
Kurzausschaltung Delta 4, 3 Stück, 2 Medium.
Like now, I need strikes on empty barrels. Wire are strikes up.
Die Hauptgruppe rechts, Uferlinie.
They have 3 mechs sitting on the left side when you pass over.
Overheating is bad.
Both lights on the Griffin. Hit the Griffin.
Sorry about that. That was such a
That's right. I'm gonna spawn Lance you guys in Charlie, Lance you guys in Bravo. That's B2C1.
This third drop is 2 lights, 2 mediums, 2 heavies, 2 assaults.
Leute in die Breite, zieht euch in die Breite.
Lights, watch our backs. We're gonna about base and take up position in Bravo 6.
Kurzausschaltung Delta 4, 3 Stück, 2 Medium sein Leid, wie ich es richtig gesehen habe.
Make a firing line.
C4 Tactical Hill, boys.
Fox.
Laufen unter ECM, hab 2 durchlaufen, 10 Bravo 4.
And get ready to hit people coming from our right.
Charlie on the left, Charlie, a Hellbringer on the left.
Okay, let's group up towards the left. We're gonna press through Bravo 3 to Bravo 4. I think they're kind of spread out.
Check yourselves, make sure you've got, UAV cool shot.
Hey, here they come. They're pushing hard, guys.
Deco. Tez on.
Go.
Oh, got a contact here, Bravo 3.
Nice, Marshall. I'm on Delta Griffin.
Well, you cross it then. Get in their face. They got a highlighter. They just push up on Theta. We need help on Theta. Up on Theta. Yep, that's the noise. Go. Let's finish this. Full pressure, guys. Full pressure. They're down low. They're down low in Charlie 3. Get the fucking arm, Jackson.
Jackson, cool shot.
Golf. I got him.
Go, P3, go.
Echo, go.
Get over on your medium, guys. Get Echo Stormcrow. God, I suck as a pilot, but thank I packed my skill. I'm sorry that you died, sweet girls, but we will send a reasonably nice letter to your family.